Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook. Get a sign-up bonus of 200% up to $25,000 when joining today. Sign up now. Terms and conditions apply.
Vote for IFL in this year's Sports Podcast Awards. Go to www.sportspodcastgroup.com and vote for us in Best Combat Sports Podcast and the Diverse Voices Awards categories. IFL Pod, available across all major streaming platforms now.
This is Joe Pugh for IFL TV. We're here at the boxing booth, Gym Red Hill Media Day for Joshua Buatsi as he takes on Dan Azeez next week. Delighted to be joined as ever by Spencer Oliver. How are you, mate?
Joe, it's all good, my friend. All good. It's been a while, to be fair.
Yeah, it's been a while. We'll start off with Joshua Buatsi. Next week is kind of his last final preparations, but huge fight at Wembley next week.
Absolutely. Look, we're here at the booth gym, like you say, Joshua Buatsi's open workout, if you like, and we're 10 days out from the fight. It's a huge fight with a huge amount on the line. We've got WBA number 1 in Buatsi against WBA number 2 in Azeez. And you look at where you're at and you look at the landscape and what could be lying ahead of that. I think there's talk of that fight with Dmitry Bivol and Beterbiev landing in June in Saudi Arabia. The winner of that Undisputed, the winner of this could get a shot at the Undisputed. That's where they're positioned. That's what's on the line. That's why this fight is so important. Looking at both guys and where they're at, rewind 18 months. You go, Buatsi's well in front here. But Dan Azeez has done it the old school way, the hard way, man, where he's done it on the road, southern area, English, British, Commonwealth, European, in the other guy's backyard. He's learnt his trade and he's made up a lot of ground. So, you go now. It's a funny situation, this one, because this is like friends become enemies and they've got to put all that aside and get in the ring at the O2 on Saturday night. But with what's on the line, there's a huge amount of pressure for both guys here because it's a must-win, really, for both guys, you know what I mean? Because win this fight, and there's huge fights out there. Not forgetting Anthony Yard as well, by the way. He's there. He's in the mix, like Frank Warren's got that big deal with Saudi Arabia. The winner of this, if they're waiting for the winner of Bivol Beterbiev, Anthony Yard's there. Bang, we'll throw one of them in, and the winner gets that. What I'm saying is, light heavyweight division right now, very, very sexy, man. There's some huge fights out there, and huge fights for the winner of this, but real 50-50.
Joshua Buatsi coming out at the Olympics, that'll be coming out to 8 years in the summer, coming out with all the prospect, all the talent, and then you talk about Dan Azeez, who has come in hard. Do you think Buatsi's got a little bit of a point to prove? Because some people say his career has tailed off the past 18 months.
Absolutely. Look, if you go back to 2021 and you look at their careers and how they've gone, Dan Azeez has been fighting 3 times a year. Joshua Buatsi once in 2021, once in 2022, once in 2023. What I'm saying is he's not been that active, so he's sort of tailed off a little bit. Joshua Buatsi at one point was talked about as the best prospect globally in the world. Now we're at a stage now where you go fast forward 2024. Yes, he's WBA's number 1, but it's been a slow stop-start sort of career, and this is a great opportunity for him to kickstart and make that point. But you talk about that, Joe, right? So they go back. Buatsi was 2016 Olympian, bronze medalist. He was the kid that everyone was looking at, everyone was talking about. Dan Azeez was actually looking at him and talking about him as well, taking advice from him, you know what I mean? Same gyms, all that sort of stuff. And you go, Azeez has made up a lot of momentum now, but you go, when you get into the fight and you're talking about mindsets and the psychological side of things, you go, Dan Azeez knows what he's going into. Buatsi's looking at Dan Azeez going, I'm your daddy, mate. I'm the one that, you know what I mean? I'm the boss. What happens if the fight gets into round 10, both guys are there and they're trading and all that, you go, then it's about Buatsi having to be more mentally prepared for that, because speaking to Azeez a couple of weeks ago when we went to his open workout, when we went to see him, he knows what he's going into. He knows how tough it's going to be, and he's prepared to go there in those later rounds. So that's why it's important that Buatsi's mindset is there and ready for that as well, because he'll remember them sparring sessions. I asked Dan Azeez about that. I went, let's say you sparred 100 times. How many times do you reckon you won those sparring sessions? He went, I'm not sure I won many of them, mate, if I'm totally honest. So he knows where he's at, do you know what I mean? So he's sort of mentally prepared for it. And when you get into a fight of this magnitude, you go like, you've got to be ready to go to a place that a normal human being would not go, man. It's dark, it's fucking hard, trust me. I've been there, I've done that. And I know how hard it is, man. And I go, these guys are going to have to go there to get victory on there, because Azeez and his will to win and, you know, prove that he is the number one, possibly in this country, taking Andy Yard out of the situation, but to prove that he's number one WBA with that opportunity to fight for the world title, he's mentally prepared to go there. And Buatsi knows that this is a great time for him to kick on and showcase why people talk about him as the best prospect globally at one stage of his career.
Well, that is next week. I want to rewind kind of, 3-4 days now spent to Liverpool. Jonas, Meyer, many people saying it's a controversial decision. Just want to get your standpoint at where you at and how you saw that fight.
Look, on the night I had it 96-94 to Jonas. I think that Jonas done enough to win the fight. You know, I think that Natasha Jonas, yes, she had a great start. She won the first round. I think Jonas won the second. Tash probably won the third, Jonas again, fourth, fifth, sixth. It was one of those fights. Round 8 was absolutely incredible. Both girls left it all in the ring, stood toe to toe. Tash had to bite down on her gum shield, and she's done what great champions do, and she fought back, and they just fought to the bitter end. And the controversy surrounding it now, because of the scoring, has taken away from what a great fight it was, and what the girls done again for women's boxing, and left it all in the ring and give the fans what they wanted to see, a packed out M&S arena. Shows you how women's boxing has evolved. It's a shame because, look, let's look at it this way, Joe, right? So, yeah, the boxing gods were with Tash the other night, because I thought Michaela won the fight by 2 rounds. But rewinding Tash's career, when she boxed Terry Harper, Matchroom headquarters behind closed doors, controversial draw. A lot of people, including myself, thought she won that one and won it quite clearly. Then fast forward a year, she boxes Katie Taylor, loses a split decision in a fight that was probably closer than this one, if I'm honest. I thought that it could have gone Tash's way, didn't go her way. She hit the post again. She gets, you know, so this time she's in another close fight, a fight that I felt she lost, and the boxing gods were with her. It happens, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like subjective scoring, what people see, what people don't. I went home and watched it on TV so I could see it from a game, because I was emotionally involved in it. Watched it, and the same outcome. I thought that Michaela won the fight. But let's not take away from Natasha Jonas and what she's done and what she's doing for women's boxing, because that's the sad thing about all this, that you just look at what, you know, her career, where she's gone, where she's come through, hitting the post a couple of times in world title fights, then going on to become a 2-weight world champion, you know, and inspiring so many women around the world. But all the kids that were there at our open workout in Liverpool, you know, all wanting to be Natasha Jonas, what she's doing for them. So she's changing lives in this as well. So you go, all right, she got a little bit lucky with the result, but I look at everything that she's doing for women's boxing, women's sport. First British Boxing Border Control Award winner for Fighter of the Year and all that sort of stuff. You just look at it and go, come on, man, this girl's doing unbelievably good. Like, it was not a landslide victory for Michaela Meyer. You got the argument there. And Tash, you know, you're looking at quality or you're going for quantity. Do you know what I mean? The quality won this one because she was doing the quality work, but the quantity and the volume was coming from Jonas. And for me, I felt that won the fight. But what I'm saying is Tash was having her moments. It was just a great fight, man. And it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's the way it's gone. It's gone Tash's way. Let's just support her, man. It's like, do you know what I mean? I get the disappointment from the team Meyer and people saying that this is an absolute robbery, rare, and all that. Look, it's not an absolute robbery. Michaela won the fight, but it was not like a landslide victory. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's no secret that Jonas has entered the twilight of her career. Could be her last couple of fights. Where does she go next? Is it the rematch? Is it the biggest fights? What do you want for her?
Well, listen, I was talking on the night about, look, she could go over old ground. Katie Taylor's obviously a huge fight, and that's where it is. But Katie maybe tied up with Chantel Cameron. You've got Jessica McCaskill there as well. Unify, do that fight. Or for me now, or even talking about Clarissa Shields, there's a possibility there, fighting Clarissa Shields, the Guota women's boxing. There's another huge fight there. But for me now, after that fight, I think it's created more interest. I think it's a bigger fight than the first one. Michaela wants the opportunity for a rematch. Tash has got the opportunity to right the wrongs of the public perception of how that fight went. Joe Gallagher would be more than happy to take that fight. Let's see it again. Who wouldn't want to see that again? That was 10 great rounds of boxing.
100%. And just a couple more, Spencer. Come out in the news, I think it was yesterday, that Jai OPETAIA has left Tyson Fury's camp after only 5 rounds of sparring. Surely a good sign for Tyson Fury heading into the undisputed fight.
Listen, don't read too much into this whole, like, Jai's left and he's floored Tyson Fury, rare, and all that. This is what my reasoning behind Jai OPETAIA leaving that fight, because obviously he's boxing Marius Bradis on the undercard, a fight that he, where he won the world title, split decision, got his jaw broke. It was a tough fight. We know how good Bradis is. So you look at that, and Jai OPETAIA helping Tyson Fury out. Of course, that's beneficial to him for the size difference, beneficial to Tyson Fury, but not for him, because he's fighting Marius Bradis. So he's probably done that, had them 5 rounds, and thought, look, there's no other sparring here that sort of works for me in my preparation for this huge fight. So that's the reasons he's gone home, training, getting different sparring that suits him. So he's left for selfish reasons. You go, had he not had a fight with Marius Bradis, he would have stayed in camp and he would have worked for him. But I love it when people throw that whole thing out. Oh, he's floored Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, trust me, will be in the shape of his life going into this fight with Alexander Usyk, because he knows what he's going into. Forget that performance against Francis Ngannou. You won't see that again, because that was Tyson Fury, where when you don't have any fear factor as a fighter, yeah, you might train and you might cut a few corners, but you think, I'm turning up, this kid's never even boxed before. I'm going to play around with him, I'll put a bit of a show on, and then I'm going to have this big undisputed fight. And it went horribly wrong for Fury, because obviously he didn't recognise how good Ngannou was. So taking nothing away from Ngannou, his performance, his timing, his boxing game plan was all brilliant. But that was Fury underestimating and having no fear factor. That's there now, and you won't see Tyson Fury like that again in the ring. And for that reason only, I think Fury wins. And I think size is going to be a huge factor in the fight. Fury's got a great boxing IQ as well. People talk about how good Usyk is, and how he works opponents out and whatnot. Fury's that as well. So I fancy Tyson Fury to put on a masterclass on the 17th.
Talk about Francis Ngannou. How beneficial is it going to be for Anthony Joshua to have those 10 rounds of tape? Because Tyson Fury simply didn't have it.
Huge, and that's what I said to you, like the fear factor thing. Like, Joshua knows now he's going into a serious fight, because actually, if you look at like Francis Ngannou now, you look at that performance, you go, he's a credible opponent, because he can fight. And he had the WBC heavyweight champ on the seat of his pants and pushed him to the wire, and a lot of people felt that he even won that fight. So you go straight away, now you're in for a real fight. Joshua will leave no stone unturned, but now he knows what he's going into, and that's so important.
Just last one, at that Joshua Ngannou press conference, His Excellency Turk Al-Sheikh said about the whole Queensbury Matchroom thing. I know you work for Boxer, so Boxer get involved in that sort of thing and try and get free promotions all battling it out against each other in Saudi Arabia?
Absolutely. Listen, I think that what Turk Al-Sheikh is doing is taking the politics away from the sport, and we're getting all the promoters working together. Who would have thought that you would have seen Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren sitting there smiling at each other, gazing in each other's eyes, holding hands, talking about how they're going to, put on these big events and whatnot. But that's what the Saudis have done. They've taken the politics away from it all. And if Boxer have something of any interest to Turkey Al-Sheikh in Saudi Arabia and these events he's putting on, they'll use him, because, do you know what I mean? He's in control of it all. So that's where we're at. I think that it's a changing of the times with Saudi Arabia's investment in boxing, that the public get the fights that we want, because the politics are gone. It's not about broadcasters, pay-per-view rights, pay-per-view splits. That's all out of the window right now, because the fighters go, right, you're getting X, Y, Z, you're getting that. Are you happy with that? And that's how it goes. And we're all boxing on this one promotion. Yep, Queensbury Promotions are the promoter, but other promoters will go on the bill as well, which is a great thing for boxing, man.
Excellent. Spencer, thank you very much for speaking to IFL TV, and I'll see you next week at Buatsi, Azeez, mate.
Look forward to it, Joe. Cheers, mate.
Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook. Get a sign-up bonus of 200% up to $25,000 when joining today. Sign up now. Terms and conditions apply.
Vote for IFL in this year's Sports Podcast Awards. Go to www.sportspodcastgroup.com and vote for us in Best Combat Sports Podcast and the Diverse Voices Awards categories. IFL Pod, available across all major streaming platforms now.